Question 2b, use the result to solve for theta being between 0 and pi over 2. The equation sine 3 theta add cos 3 theta is equal to the root of 2 add root 2 over 2. Give your answer in terms of pi. Check for extraneous solutions. So what we've got is we've got something very similar to what we had before. So I'm going to square both sides. Sine 3 theta add cos 3 theta squared to give us 2 add root 2 all over 2. And now we've got what we had in part A. So I can rename this as 1 add sine 6 theta is equal to 2 add root 2 over 2. And sine 6 theta is going to be 2 add root 2 all over 2, take away 1. Now initially we can see up here we're looking for theta between 0 and pi over 2. We've got 6 theta, so if we times our boundaries by 6, then we're looking between 0 and 3 pi. So I'm going to say let 6 theta equal x, and so I've now got sine x is equal to 2 add root 2 all over 2, take away 1, and we're looking at x is between 0 and 3 pi. So we arc sine that, and we get our x value to be equal to pi over 4. And so looking at our cast diagram, we're going to have 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi, 5 pi over 2, and 3 pi. And we're going to stop there. So we are looking at sine being positive, so we are looking in all, pi by 4, and we're looking in sine, pi by 4. So our solutions of x are going to be pi over 4 as our first one. Then so that's our first one here. Then our second one is going to be 1 pi take away pi over 4, so that's going to be 3 pi over 4. Then we're going to go around again, and we've got another solution in here, which is going to be at 2 pi add pi over 4. So 2 pi in a fraction over 4 is going to be 8 pi, so that's going to be 9 pi's over 4. And then finally we've got another one in this quadrant here, which can be 3 pi take away pi over 4, which will be 11 pi over 4. Now these are our x values, and we're actually trying to find what theta is. Okay, so what we're going to say is that these values are equal to 6 theta because of our substitution earlier on. And so theta is going to be pi over 24, 3 pi over 24, or pi over 8, 9 pi over 24, and 11 pi over 24. Now the tricky part here is where it said check for extraneous solutions. So what we've got to do is we've got to look at the part that we started with up here, and then the solutions that we've got. So we've got in the question here, we've got a 3 theta and a 3 theta. So if these values are theta, our 3 theta values are going to be 3 pi over 24, which is pi over 8, 3 pi over 8, 9 pi over 24 times 3 is going to be 27 pi over 24, and then 33 pi over 24. So if I want to simplify these, I've got 27 over 24, I can divide them both by 3. I've got 9 pi over 8, and here I can divide both these by 3, and I've got 11 pi over 8. Now, if we look at the quadrants in which they're going to sit, the first two are fine because these are both going to sit in the all quadrant, okay? Because we've got both of them being less than a half pi. However, we have issues with these two values here because those values are going to sit in the tan quadrant over here because they're between pi and 3 pi over 2. That therefore means that sine and cos are both going to be negative, and you can't have a square root solution to that. So those are extraneous values. Sine and cos are both negative for these. So your values for theta, the only ones you can include are pi over 8 and 3 pi over 8.